others that are on the dark side to know that they're on the dark side and come over to the light. And then a little bit more about the radio show. We've got to work that out and decide when to start it. But
I'm ready to start the radio show as soon as you give me the green light.
Well, Ted Anderson's leasing this extra satellite right now because it's going to be for my system 24 hours a day in association with the network in Minnesota. And then I'm interviewing board ops all this week so that we have more people in there, and we have to familiarize them. This is a different system. This is internet, AM, FM satellite, and it's all integrated in there. So it's not, you can't just get a regular radio board op. We've got guys in there who, you know, like one fellow runs the CBS News show in the morning. So it's a TV director / radio. So, and that's kind of for behind the scenes for the listeners. I'm not trying to get into all the technical stuff, just for folks that are interested in that. And soon we're going to have a tour via video camera of the office to show people. Beautiful office, by the way. Oh, very nice. Well, thank you. And no, it's just people keep wanting to see our new office, and they're like, you know, let's see what you're building. Let's see what you're doing. And I'm so busy, I haven't gotten around to it. But you guys want to shoot for not this Saturday, but are you going to be in town next Saturday? Candy, we'd have to find out. Yeah, Saturday sounds great. I mean, we've been talking about programming. Wouldn't a 9 to midnight show be really good for what he's doing on Saturday night? I mean, I think that's the best time for that. But, you know, you could probably even do it earlier in the day. But that's the best time, I think, a Saturday or Sunday night. And then we've got a new show starting in about a month. It's going to be on weeknights, Monday through Friday, out of the studio. But I believe within 2 weeks, they're going to have the satellite all hooked up, and then we have to integrate in those systems. We have to develop a video intro for your show and things like that. So there's a few little odds and ends. Or we can start pretty much immediately with a beta test. It's just I want to have your graphics and, you know, a whole package of things. There's going to be some behind-the-scenes work we've got to do for that. Excellent. I think you asked me a question earlier. Yeah, go ahead. How do I feel now, moving over to the side of light? I feel better than I've ever felt. I'm more balanced than I ever felt. I'm more at peace with myself than I've ever felt, because I know for sure this time I'm doing the right thing. And we've caught some breaks, and we've worked hard, and we used wisdom to make sure we'd be on the map 2 years later. And some really good people are getting in position to be around us. The people that started with us are still here. They're full of wisdom, and so we don't just climb and leave people behind. We're a team that's going forward. I still carry some hurt. I don't know if you call it guilt or what, for hurting the people that I harmed. I'll carry that my whole life. Well, the more good you do, the more. Yeah, you can cancel out a lot of that stuff by putting good stuff out. So, you know, doing what we set out to do, and that's to do good, and it's working. Absolutely. I tell you, I feel so sorry for folks that are evil, because I was never really evil, but I was kind of into being a tough guy and kind of a a-hole, as they say, and I wasn't happy. And as soon as I became, a more loving person and more wisdom, and it takes time. That's why the system targets children, or targets young cops, or targets young teachers to indoctrinate them. That's why they want soldiers that are 18, not 30. That's right. You know, because they want them when they don't know, when they're not wise. A 30-year-old will tell them, hey, don't talk to me like that. You know? Or they'll say, I'm not going to take that vaccine. Army regs say I don't have to take experimental vaccines. But an 18, 20-year-old doesn't know, and they can warp their minds early. That's what concerns me most. They found in World War I that a soldier could only fight for maximum a year. And then the majority of the time, they were going to be messed up for life, post-traumatic stress, shell-shocked, either really aggressive and wild, or just kind of, screwed up and have all sorts of health problems and be mentally ill because of all the carnage they'd seen and the stress and the constant battles. And I know police go through that too. That's why they have such high post-traumatic stress, so much alcoholism, the highest rate of suicide of any profession out there, next to dentists for some reason. That's the statistic. But they have to understand that now they're serving on average 3 combat tours. They only did 1 in Vietnam, 1 in Korea. When my grandfather served a tour, he was a volunteer, but it was only 1 tour, flying B-17s and then getting a Purple Heart and then being on the ground, being a cook in Italy once they invaded. And I mean, I look back to how my dad's dad was. He was a business guy and, in county government, a good guy and a rancher and a farmer and a nice fella. But, he died real young, and he was
I mean, you could tell probably had a little bit of that. And that was only from one tour. Imagine 3, 4, 5, 6 tours. And these guys are shot out of their minds, and now they're coming in as cops, and they're the guys that are shooting people in the back. They're the guys that are, I mean, there's this one military veteran who's well known to also be a steroid head here in town, who became a supervisor out of there, proud of him. You know, I mean, I know somebody who he threw out of, he pulled a guy over, the guy's quadriplegic. He says, "What are these things on your car?" And he said, "Those are my hand controls." He said, "Get out." And he beat him up on the squad car camera, and they said, "Hey, good job. Here's a medal." Again, it's like they're devil dogs or something.
When I graduated the police academy, I was afraid of citizens. And I'll tell more on another show, but some of the training exercises...
Well, if you got the time, we can go another 5 minutes. Go ahead and tell the story.
One of the training exercises that we went through was with a paint pistol, and our instructor sat in a car as the driver, and we did a mock traffic stop. And he had the gun hidden, and the goal was to not get shot by him. And through this exercise, we're trained that every encounter with a citizen is an armed encounter, whether they have a gun or not, because the officer has a gun that can be taken. So they teach us all these different paranoid ways how to approach a car. So that and we've gotten shot by the paintballs so many times from our instructors that by the time we get out of the police academy and make our first traffic stop, I've got courage and I'm kind of a brave guy, but my hand would be shaking so bad before I got to that driver's door, pulling anybody home over. Little old lady, didn't matter. My hands would be shaking so bad, thinking, "Where's the gun going to come from? Where's the gun going to come from?"
I always wondered why, starting in the mid 90s, cops pull you over now and they walk over all scared and all, and you're just going, you know. And I mean, and now I see them because I'll observe them. I see them pulling over literally like 65-year-old women, and they're scared. And then I know the statistics, because I'm all into statistics. I know that a handful of police die compared to dying in car wrecks when they're writing tickets, hanging their butts out, like I said last time. And, you tell a cop that, you go, your main thing is your squad car. The main thing's getting hit. And they're like, "No, it's the citizens. They're deadly. They're deadly." And, cops do get killed, but that's part of the line of work. Firemen get killed. I just can't imagine constantly being that afraid. That is abuse of their body right there.
Well, it's the air. I could walk into a scene, and it doesn't take an intelligent person to do this. It takes a manipulative person, and everybody's got some manipulation in them. I could walk into a scene, calm it down, help the citizens, and leave. Or I could walk into that same scene as an officer and do little things to antagonize and pick fights to escalate that into an arrest. That's what
I've had that many times.
No, that's what they're doing.
But I mean, I've had them do that as activists in Denver. And they weren't as bad as some cities. I'd be there videoing during the DNC. Cops would come over 30 feet away and say, "Hey, we're just working here. Stop taping us." I'd go, "Hey, man, that's the First Amendment. Hey, what's your problem?" I mean, where did that attitude come from?
Well, they're not secret police, and they think they are. They're public servants. It's just an entire paradigm shift. As I said last week, police now show up to the scene looking who they can arrest. And we need to switch the whole thing to police showing up to the scene looking who they can help.
Did you hear about this Fourth Amendment change where they said, well, even if officers don't really have a proper warrant, or even if it wasn't properly filed, or even if they lie about it, they can now just basically no Fourth Amendment?
Yeah, but when that came out, that confused me a little bit because I've been involved in lawsuits. And even if there's immunity given to police officers and judges if their intentions weren't to cause harm. If
now it's, they spun it for the public that was protectable. No, it's saying they can do bad things now. I mean, that's what the ruling's saying.
That's insane.
No, it's evil. Look, they're evil. I mean, that's what every time you see in criminology where there's some nice family man who likes to dress up like a clown, they find out there's 23 dead boys in his basement. And they're like, but he was such a nice man. And it's because they wear suits and ties or uniforms. People can't believe this. And if you, as a mid-level narcotics officer, it was already this evil, but you thought you were okay, what I found is it's actually sadistic psychopaths above them. And there's a whole system of manipulating police and bureaucrats and others. And the higher you go up the chain, it goes from just being well-meaning dupes who become corrupt.